And what you think Kevin Stefanski going to do with this quarterback situation?
He better figure it out. You got Michael Penix, who is almost a second coming of Shedeur, the left-hand version. You seen what you did with Shedeur, and it was unacceptable. Who has gotten better from the player's perspective with Kevin Stefanski? The Atlanta Falcons, they're a young team. You got Michael Penix as your quarterback, Drake London as your receiver, Kyle Pitts. Your team is young.
Arthur Blank is reportedly livid. The longtime owner and chairman of the Atlanta Falcons is said to be fuming behind closed doors as tension inside the franchise's state-of-the-art facility reaches a boiling point. The coach he personally trusted to guide the organization into its next era, Kevin Stefanski, is now at the center of a growing internal storm. And this time, it's not about play calling, draft strategy, or defensive schemes. Reports suggest Stefanski is pressing the front office to pursue a different quarterback, effectively pushing to sideline the team's heavily invested young talent, Michael Penix Jr., before he's even been given a true opportunity to prove himself. Sources claim Blank is not on board with that direction. What's unfolding looks less like routine offseason debate and more like a full-blown power struggle, with a serious ultimatum looming over leadership. Adding fuel to the fire, former NFL MVP Cam Newton has publicly cautioned that this situation could spiral the same way he believes things unraveled in Cleveland with Shedeur Sanders. As scrutiny intensifies across the National Football League, what's happening behind the scenes in Atlanta may be far more explosive than anyone expected.
Ladies and gentlemen, this man was in Cleveland for about 6 years, had 13 different quarterbacks. One of them was Baker Mayfield. Another was Jacoby Brissett. Obviously, Deshaun Watson. Joe Flacco, various others. Nothing could work.
To fully grasp why Arthur Blank is so frustrated right now, you have to examine the roster the Atlanta Falcons have carefully constructed over the past several years. This isn't a franchise searching for direction or identity. It's widely viewed as one of the most dynamic young teams in the league, loaded with explosive talent that's already making an impact. You have Drake London hauling in passes, Kyle Pitts controlling the middle of the field, and Bijan Robinson slicing through defenses. These players embody the energy and culture of Atlanta, hungry and driven to win. At the center of it all sits Michael Penix Jr., a gifted left-handed quarterback who has flashed undeniable brilliance and the kind of upside executives covet. The blueprint felt clear. The future looked promising. Then Kevin Stefanski arrived and reportedly began making unexpected demands. Emerging reports indicate he has asked the front office to pursue a veteran quarterback for the upcoming season, not as competition to motivate Penix, but as a potential shift away from the franchise's current trajectory. That's what makes this so troubling internally. Ownership didn't bring Stefanski in to tear down their vision. They brought him in to enhance it. The expectation was that he would shape this young core into a contender, not override the very foundation the organization invested heavily to build. Around the building, confusion is growing over why a coach would enter a locker room this talented and immediately consider redirecting it so drastically. Yet there is at least one prominent voice who claims he saw this storm forming long before it arrived.
Players, from what we've seen, don't get better with Kevin Stefanski. And I'm looking at the personnel of the Atlanta Falcons. They're a young team. You got Michael Penix as your quarterback, Drake London as your receiver, Kyle Pitts,
Bijan.
That's a very young team. Like, your team is young. It's like you're inheriting something that's already great and ready to rock and roll.
Cam Newton immediately went on the offensive the moment the Atlanta Falcons confirmed Kevin Stefanski as their new head coach, and his message left no room for confusion. He openly challenged how ownership could review Stefanski's resume, especially what unfolded with Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland, and still decide he was the right leader for this franchise. Cam didn't soften his stance or hide behind media politeness. On his platform, he argued that Sanders was never granted a genuine opportunity to thrive, insisting it had nothing to do with talent or readiness for the NFL spotlight. In Cam's view, the issue was deeper, a clash of identity, confidence, and cultural authenticity that Stefanski failed to embrace. He warned that coaches unwilling to adjust to strong, expressive quarterbacks risk repeating the same mistakes. The optics, he pointed out, are striking. A coach leaving a fractured quarterback situation in Cleveland, now stepping into Atlanta, a city widely recognized as a cultural heartbeat with a passionate and predominantly Black fan base. Cam's central question quickly echoed across the National Football League landscape. If the dynamic broke down once, what guarantees it won't happen again with Michael Penix Jr.? He framed it as part of a broader league conversation about development standards, how some young quarterbacks receive patience, system adjustments, and organizational protection, while others face immediate skepticism and replacement rumors. Now, with reports of internal tension surfacing, Arthur Blank is said to be in serious discussions, determined to protect the long-term vision he carefully constructed. The stakes are clear. Either the franchise reinforces its commitment to Penix and stabilizes the direction, or the situation risks escalating into something far more damaging. What started as a coaching hire has evolved into a defining crossroads for Atlanta, and the entire football world is watching to see what happens next.